Everything I learned that what used to infuriate me about the business, I'm trying to make sure that those things are not happening. IBA is an amateur governing body. IBA Pro is fully professional game. It's an embryo, but a very exciting embryo. I've got big plans about United Kingdom. We want fights, we want tear-ups, we don't want mismatches. We don't care about zeros and building up the records. This is the opportunity for fighters to truly test themselves without threatening their padded record.
Rob Tebbutt for Boxing News here, and I am delighted to be joined by an old favourite of ours, none other than the man himself, Mr. Siesta. How you doing, Al?
I'm very well, Rob. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. Very well. Nice to see you. Always good to catch up with you and be in your sort of orbit. Yeah, nice to see you, Al.
Likewise, my friend. What's been happening here?
Lots have been happening. My hairline's gone back a little bit. My waist has expanded a little bit, but all usual things when you're getting older, Al.
You haven't changed a bit, trust me.
I don't know whether that's a compliment or not.
No, you look fantastic as always.
Thank you very much. So do you. What have you been up to? It's been a little while since we've caught up with you. I think that the last time we did an interview, you might have to help me out here.
4 years ago, maybe.
Wow.
Honestly.
4 years ago.
A long time ago.
Because we had you on the podcast before, what I now call the interrogation booth, where we're sitting across from each other when we're like this is a little bit different now. What do you think of the new digs, the new surroundings?
It's brilliant. Was it the first time you've been interrogating a Russian guy and not the other way around?
Yeah, it was the first time. Yeah. But that threw up some interesting some memories. I think I remember putting together the clip for it when we put it out. It was very
with Balalaika.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was
Boris the Blade.
The Blade, exactly. But yeah, no, it's nice of you to pop by and to see you in the UK. Obviously, we've spoken recently because we've had, of course, your new venture, IBA Pro, shows free and exclusive around the world on Boxing News' YouTube channel. But nice to see you in England for once, because you've been travelling here, there and everywhere, haven't you?
Travelling everywhere. 4 shows in 2 weeks. I don't know if it's a record, but it's crazy. I'm telling you, that was absolute roller coaster ride. I will never do that again, I can tell you. But it's very pleasing because it's done, you know.
But yeah, you're looking like, to be fair, you're still looking, you've got that youthful exuberance about you still.
I'm a young man, come on. It's all in there.
Very much so. I briefly mentioned upon it there, IBA Pro, which is of course your new home, isn't it? I think the last time I spoke to you would have been Siesta Boxing, and then you were working with Boxer and Ben Shalom and the guys over there, but you're now with IBA Pro. I'm sure there'll be legions of Siesta fans wanting to know how you made it across to IBA Pro. Obviously going to talk about that today and see what you've been up to. What can you tell people, Al? How did you find your way over to IBA Pro?
You know me, correct?
Very much so, yes.
I'm always looking for something special. I'm always looking for some next thing. And it's been a great educational curve with starting from 2015, Matchroom, matchmaking, working with various promoters across the world. Then COVID, obviously, which I almost quit boxing, because I had some different offers outside of boxing, which were very interesting. But boxing always pulls me in, Rob, always pulls me in. Whenever I think that I'm walking away, it gives me another very big perspective and pulls me in, and it's a bigger stage. And I should start realizing that maybe I was born for this game. I don't know, but long story short, then Boxer was an international head of boxing for maybe almost 2 years. Great learning curve, understanding the corporate world, Sky Sports and relationship with the broadcasters and everything, and then GBM, and then IBA Pro, promoter, director general, how they say back home, but probably CEO, that's what we call it here. And big task, big ask, and big plans. Very interesting, very interesting. It's our baby. I think it's not revolutionary is a strong word, but very exciting, very exciting.
We'll come on and talk about IBA Pro shortly. We'll just touch upon something that you said there, because there's only a few people who I think probably love boxing or love this game more than me, and you're one of them. Sitting around with you is one of the more... Because I'm constantly on the go and at sort of 99 miles an hour, when somebody comes in at 100 miles an hour, it's just that little bit of extra. But you do really love it, don't you, Al?
I do love. I don't know if it's blessing or curse. I love boxing. It's my life.
What do you think it is specifically about this crazy old industry? Because it is a crazy old industry. We like to make sure we like to make out like it's normal, but it's not. What is it about the industry that you love so much?
Absence of any order. A bit like myself. I'm only joking, but It's brilliant. Listen, it's very exciting, and you can walk from any walk of life into boxing and do well, and you can fail, you can spend millions, and you can earn millions. It's an incredible thing. It's like a roller coaster. I'm not a gambling man, but I think in excitement and unpredictability, that what draws people in my opinion.
Yeah, very much so. The Wild West of sport is what
absolutely
boxing is always
the wildest west. Boxing, officially.
It very much is. But on IBA Pro, now a few things I kind of wanted to discuss with you today about IBA Pro. Obviously, it's still a very sort of emerging concept, should we say, and obviously kind of the new kids on the block, so to speak, in some ways.
Depends. If you look at IBA, previously IBA, it's been there forever. I believe from 1974, I've been told. But IBA Pro, brand new baby.
Yeah. That's kind of where
embryo, but very exciting, very strong already. You can look at DNA. I can see it's going places. I can tell you why.
We'll come on to, it's kind of where I wanted to go with it. IBA Pro versus IBA. There'll be people who are watching this who don't know the difference. I know that obviously
there's a big difference.
There is a big difference. How would you kind of define that, and where does your role sit within IBA?
So IBA is an amateur governing body, which now World Boxing, which is a great organization, and as you know, IBA kind of had the differences with an Olympic committee, and World Boxing is now taking over to govern the sport for the Olympic Games. IBA Pro is fully professional game, professional boxing, and professional weight classes, professional fighters, although we've got place for all the Olympic talent and people who wants to turn pro, but it's a full commercial professional boxing concept.
So IBA Pro is full professional, so no head guards,
no head guards, no, absolutely, but all the same, like same weight classes, same professional gloves, all the gear, all the legislations and rules and regulations and doping legislations and weight classes, as I've said, absolutely the same. But very exciting, there are some new concepts, because we know the world is driven with dopamine. And I said, we were discussing the other day, I said to you, you could be purist, you could love boxing. It's a bit like avant-garde jazz, if you understand about the movements and ducking and diving. I think the general public likes catchy music, and we like catchy boxing. We want fights, we want tear-ups, we don't want mismatches. We don't care about zeros and building up the records. We want to see the fight, because if I'm dedicating my time to watch boxing in the evening, I want to see something special. Obviously, it's not panning out every time, and you can have some matchmaking disasters. But if you know the game, and you can do something special in boxing, I think. And I was specializing in matchmaking, as you know, previously. It's good for me.
Yeah, very much so. You're kind of the way that we've described you in the past. I know it's been said a few times. The Winston Wolf of boxing. If there is a problem, you call Al Siesta, and Al Siesta turns up and helps things.
And bring you banana skin.
Something like that.
In many cases, yeah.
So how involved are you with the matching side of things now? I mean, again, I know you have many different hats for many different jobs. How involved are you with the matching and the putting the shows together?
So my main job as a lead promoter and a frontman and a spokesman for the IBA Pro, because I've got British passport, as you know, I've got Russian passport, I've got Armenian passport, so I'm a man of the world. I speak few languages and I understand the cultures. So I have fantastic relationship with the lots of governing bodies and the national federations, and I overlook the entire process, matchmaking, the branding, the way the show will be looking, if you understand, and television side of it, the broadcasters. And I've got a team of matchmakers, believe me or not, now working for me, and I can imagine it's like devil wearing Prada. It's a nightmare, but I'm kind of going easy on them, and I'm kind of trying to educate them what we're looking for, because every now and then you got offered some shockers, but we've probably forgotten more than they will ever know. That's the situation, and it's exciting to pass the knowledge and work with a group of people who really love boxing as much as I do, and that's IBA Pro. We've got big plans, Rob, big plans. The quality is the most important thing. The fighting quality, the show quality, and the fan excitement and engagement. Obviously, transparency and everything I learned that what used to infuriate me about the business, I'm trying to make sure that those things are not happening.
Boxing's in a very interesting position at the minute. I think the activity over the last 18 months, there's more broadcasters, there's more people looking to kind of dip their toe in the boxing pool, as it were, than there really ever has been, certainly in my time in the sport. How do IBA Pro, I guess, stand out from the crowd? There's an awful lot of shows, there's an awful lot of promoters. Everybody, it seems, every 10 minutes is looking to change the sport for good. And how do IBA Pro fit into that? What's I guess, the plan really for IBA Pro?
I tell you, because of legacy. because very long experience in amateur boxing, officiating Olympic Games, World Championships, regional championships, great experience of managing fighters, unbelievable pool of fighters and talent. When you work with talent continuously, your level raises, you understand what's going on and their ability and so on and so forth, and the predictability of the career movement and so on and so forth, the development. And now I'm coming in with a professional experience. That kind of concoction, if you can say that, I truly believe it will be successful. Apart from innovative ideas that we have, the expertise is there, and experts are very important for the field like this, you know. So you've mentioned that there are many broadcasters. I believe there are many streaming broadcasters, but the leading broadcasters, they're less and less, I think. Am I right?
Yeah, I would imagine so. I mean, ESPN are leaving boxing, but they're not renewing their deal with Top Rank. Obviously, we've seen Showtime in the recent past. No, ESPN not.
Wow.
We've seen Showtime in the recent past as well bow out from the race, so to speak. I don't know what TNT are going to be doing after Frank Warren moves over to DAZN, but plenty of opportunity in boxing, as there always is. But obviously, you need a strong product, which I'm sure you would say that you have.
A fantastic product, fantastic. The quality of fighters, the vision, the experience, the frontmanship, and the branding and innovative ideas. I think it's a dream, in my opinion. I like it personally, and there's lots to learn, again, lots to progress, but it's a prototype, a very nice prototype. It's an embryo, but a very exciting embryo, talented embryo.
Now, one of the things you just mentioned there about IBA, so the amateur side of things, obviously governed the Olympics for many years, the World Championships, European Championships. I think in recent years, it's fair to say it's had its fair share of negative press. IBA, from the amateur side of the games, we've seen in the past, you know, kind of bad headlines really around corruption and judging and officiating. Where do you make the distinction? Obviously, you've mentioned that IBA Pro is a separate entity. How do you, I guess, you know, there'll be people who are watching this and going, oh, IBA, well, that's going to be corrupt. That's going to be crooked. What do you say as IBA Pro CEO? How do you combat that? Because people will have that I guess, prejudice going into it based on the last few years.
And it's very fair. And all they need to do is just to check the 6 shows I've done. Officiating, the quality, it's unbelievable. I was joking with people about my shows, the home corner losers. And as you've seen the last show and the show you commentated, it's touch and go, isn't it? It's 50-50, because this is the guideline that I had from my peers who gave me this position. So, Al, we're really, really hoping that you will make a difference in terms of matchmaking and perception of what professional boxing is immediately. They want immediate gratification. They want to see tear-ups immediately, very nicely, evenly matched fights. They don't want to see the building. They said, small hall, the beauty of small hall, you can build fighters before unleash them. The comparison I'll give you, when you watch Premier League on TV, you don't see the record building. You see competitive games. It's championship. I think if you're on the big stage with a big broadcaster or whatever it is, and if you're dared to broadcast your show, you have to respect the viewer. And for me, there's no winners or losers, because it's IBA Pro. Conceptually, partly, it's a league. So it's like Premier League or Champions League. There are no winners or losers. Football wins or boxing wins in my situation. So as long as I'm delivering for the viewer as a promoter, I won. So that's all we want, really. And then the record coming next, and people develop their heroes. They see who is a real fighter, and the avoiders, and what do you call them, one-timers or short-timers, if you can say, and they can see people with longevity. So it's exciting, you know.
One of the things from doing my little bit of research, as you know, obviously it's stout professional, is looking at BoxRec. So BoxRec have an IBA Pro section now for people who have competed in IBA Pro. It was news to me that existed when going on there. What does that mean now? What can you tell us?
I'll explain exactly what it is. You know, I was very nervous proposing that to Marina Shepard and BoxRec. But when I explained the concept, I said, Marina, the only way you can get fighters fighting immediately, competitively, if their pro record is not threatened. And this is very important for me as a brand new launch, that I have competitive fights. And also, for example, if you know that your record is not threatened, you might come a bit cheaper. but you still want to fight because your fight is in your belly, it's in your heart. You're a fighter. You want to fight and get paid for it. So that's the initial creation of IBA Pro. Now it's transforming into something with titles, with the structure, with the league, and so on and so forth, with blitz tournaments, short formats, long formats, whole entire year championships. We've got lots of ideas, but overall, this is the opportunity for fighters to truly test themselves without threatening their padded record, if you know what I mean. Perfect for Britain, for example, because there are lots of fighters really worrying about their record. But now I'm giving them the opportunity. You want to fight Safian Umia? Or you want to fight this guy, you want to fight this Filipino guy, or Russian guy, or Ukrainian guy, or American guy. Try 6-rounder, see how good you are. If you're a promoter, you can see how good your boy is. Is it worth investing, what you need to work on? If you train in camp, you'll see exactly where they are. It's perfect.
What's the difference between that, and how does a fight, I guess, would come from you as the person making the fight, become an IBA Pro fight or a normal professional fight? What's the difference? How does that get decided?
The prize money, because for example, when I give a fighter 6-rounder, I pay you $10,000 USA as a winner and $6,000 as a loser. So I've got an incentive straight away. And if I'm matching equally, the desire to win equally. Do you understand that? I'll get it from both sides. So it's important for me. Loads of intensifying stuff, knockout bonuses, early bonuses. Look, it's just, I think it's transformation. It's an evolution, in my opinion. Because I know a lot about small hall, and as you know, I mean, I remember I used to, my joke was always about myself. I worked the stinkiest dressing rooms, and I've done the world title fights. I wrapped many hands myself. And with the torch, I've been to the labyrinth of boxing, and I believe I'm kind of entered the DNA structure of the sport somehow. So you understand what I'm trying to say?
Sort of a way of explaining it would be you're sort of you're in the prime of your career as a fighter now, and you've had your
correct. I've done my development. Yeah, now it's time to deliver. It's time to deliver. You know, like it's great. I'm in a great place. It's just the words can't describe all the ideas what we have. I mean, you know what? Less talking, more doing. This is very important. Less talking, more doing. Obviously, the concept is there. It's very exciting. I'm really hoping that British public will see what we're doing, because I've got big plans about United Kingdom.
Well, you know, provided you don't find somebody better, they'll be able to watch their shows free on Boxing News. So who knows? But maybe we'll see in the future.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to touch on a couple of some other things. Just got my bits here actually. With regards to working in the UK, you mentioned there about working in the UK. You are, of course, former employee of Boxer. You worked with Boxer. You worked with Matchroom for a number
as an
of years
agent.
as well.
Yeah, I was
as
a
an
long
agent
time
and a
ago.
matchmaker.
Yeah.
Alongside the guys there. It seems like everything over here is kind of changing a little bit now. You've got Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn, friends, and I don't know what Shalom and Hearn are doing. They're kind of friends one minute and sort of like a married couple, arguing and bickering all the time. But you've got experience of working with all of these guys anyway. So what's your relationship like now? Obviously, you're not working here or based here now, but I'm assuming that in your kind of crazy Siesta world, you're bumping into and speaking to these guys still regularly?
I haven't seen anyone for a long time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I'm still based in Southampton in the UK. Just been working abroad because developing Europe and everything before I come to the home of boxing. UK is the home of boxing, make no mistake about this. I am a licensee of British Boxing Board of Control. I'm British by nationality, don't forget that. So this is my final aim, really, to develop this region for IBA Pro and do lots of stuff, lots of shows with Brits internationally. My dream was always a European equivalent of Top Rank, and I've told you that for many years.
I remember you telling me that.
This is where we're going.
2016.
Exactly. This is where we're going with IBA Pro. Big international platform. Inspiration is UFC. It doesn't matter what your religious belief, your nationality, your origin. If you're a great fighter, if you're Manny Pacquiao, you will pick in the United States. If you're Gennady Golovkin, they will love you there. If you know what I mean, it doesn't matter. Let's drop this imperial attitude, which sometimes we have in this country, but I'm not an imperial man. I'm a foreigner myself, so I understand how it feels. So we can do something special here. And you're asking me about our fellow promoters. Brilliant. That's, you know, the common thing about them. They love boxing. They're crazy. We're all crazy. So working together, it's blessing. And I hope the boys recognize that IBA Pro is a great platform, and I'm welcoming everyone. We should collaborate. We should work together. I recently made an offer we have in our promotional company, Albert Batergaziev, the Olympic champion and WBA interim champion. I've just made an offer. I made an offer to Jazza Dickens to come and fight. Yeah. Wonderful fight. We've got plenty offers. I'd like to sign some Brits. And Brits in boxing, British fighters know Al Siesta very well and know I'm an honorable man and I love boxing and I always will deliver and I will care about you and I'll pay on time. And this is very important. And we know how to navigate career and take you to the very top. And with media and the concepts we've got and the relationship across the world, we can really, really excel what we're all doing together. Matchroom, Queensbury, Boxer, welcome. I'm inviting everyone to this carnival. It's wonderful. Great platform.
You mentioned that Albert Batergaziev, and you also mentioned Sofian Umahar, another very, very established top-level amateur. Who else do you have at IBA Pro?
IBA Pro, so because our president is Russia-based, so there are some good Russian champions, but we also got Filipinos, we've got Latin Americans, we've got Cubans, we've got French, obviously. It's regional. I'm looking at the regions and I can see we've got a couple of Japanese fighters we want to sign as well because we're great. IBA Pro, great. I've got great contacts in South Korea and Japan. We're talking we might going to do the tournament there and speaking to Monaco, Saint-Tropez as well to work together. UK is the home really, so I'm thinking who I can offer some deals in the United Kingdom. And there are a few names I'm thinking, and I'm good to spot on early stage. At the early stage. We'll see, but who we've got? Muslim Gajimagomedov, Olympic silver medalist, WBA Bridgerweight world champion, Albert Batergaziev, interim world champion. And I do believe if Lamont Roach will fight, will fight Gervonta Davis, Albert will gonna get elevated to full champion, and will defend his title. Super featherweight, WBA world champion and an Olympic champion. Sofian Umahar, dual Olympic silver medalist and amateur world champion. And I don't know how good he'll be at the pros because he's
only had a few fights.
I think he's in his 30s now and we've got no time to waste. I'm looking forward to him fighting various people. We discussed that today. British guys, there's lots of like Conlon there and Zelfa Barrett is there and Josh Warrington is there. So it's for Albert Batergaziev because it's the same weight. Pavel Sasulin is a great guy. We'll be fighting for the Eliminator very soon. Great guy. He just beat Bastida, who is a very good Argentinian fighter. Finol, great silver Olympic champion. Zakirov, Uzbekistani world champion. Jalolov, Mulajonov, Olympic champion, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, all the Armenian, all the ex-Soviet Union we have shown in. So my incentive now, come to the West and see what we've got in terms of talent in United Kingdom, in Ireland, in France, Germany, as I said to you, so I'm repeating myself, but that's the idea.
So you're leading the invasion now. You're bringing them over and going to beat all of our guys.
It's not an invasion, it's sharing. Sharing love. This is the platform, guys. Yeah. Let's do something very special. I saw how excited you were when I told you about the concept about the Blitz tournaments and the World Championships, when in one evening you can have a Blitz World Champion. When Mexicans fighting Brits, Russians, Ukraine, Canada, Japan, at the same weight class is a bit like Contender Series or whatever, or like what Barry Hearn used to do.
The prize
fighter, fantastic, but the rules are a little bit different. It's much more exciting. There's various things. I told you, very innovative, and it's perfect for broadcasters, perfect for bookmakers, perfect for fans, perfect for your app.
There we go. Giving it the sell on all fronts there, Al.
Yeah.
We like it. I mentioned earlier that people are working together more and more now. We're seeing as well in the last 18 months, big fights are being made, and there's become less shows. But there are still some, as we all know. We watch our boxing every weekend, and not every show has been spectacular. But it seems more and more lately we're getting these more well-matched cards with bigger names on it. Which is good for the sport, isn't it? Because we have less of the padding of records. We have less mismatches where you've got guys with 150, 200 amateur fights fighting a guy on 2 or 3 days' notice. So it's a good time to be coming into a sport because the sport is strong at the minute. You want to come into a sport while it's strong and kind of add to it, right?
Wonderful, absolutely. And I think it's common consensus, common knowledge. I think everyone is tired from padding records. And the cliche, records are who for? Records are for DJs, which I was a DJ before, so the record's not for me. And It's brilliant. I'm really glad because hopefully this concept, this ethos will wipe out this fear for your zero. And at the end of the day, if you're a warrior without losses, how are you going to learn? How will you understand the psyche and improve yourself if you never lost? And if you bring dead bodies, if you keep bringing this, there's a joke, I wouldn't say this derogatory joke, but if you understand what I'm trying to say, yeah. So, yeah.
What are your plans for the next 12 months, Al? I appreciate it's going to be a bit of an open question. You're somebody who, from knowing you we were speaking about this earlier, we I've known for nearly 10 years now, Al.
10 years has been.
Flying by that
2015 is now. Sorry.
Yeah, we're getting old, Al. Although you look annoyingly younger than me and much fresher than I am.
No. Listen. Nobody's changing. It's all in heart, as I said to you, all in your heart, in your head. I mean, if you have lots to complete, you don't age.
I've got lots.
Honestly, trust me. You've got lots to complete, correct?
Yeah.
So you can't be aging.
Aged.
No, listen.
But anyway, it doesn't matter
yeah.
what I look like. My question again, for the next 12 months, what's the plan?
Busy.
You're not somebody who likes to plan that far ahead, are you?
No. This is exaggeration.
With the wind, aren't you, sometimes?
I have a show. I'm leaving on Sunday. I'm flying to Tajikistan, Dushanbe. We've got a big international event.
Live on Boxing News YouTube channel?
Live on Boxing News YouTube channel, absolutely, yes. And some other platforms, but in the UK and the rest of the world is available on Boxing News. WBA gold title at lightweight. There's a very exciting Tajikistani fighter, by the way. You know, Tajiks got some really good smaller weights. They've got great fighters, although they've got Boltaev, who's an Paris Olympic bronze medalist, is fighting as well. And great show in Tajikistan. Then we've got one in Turkey. Then we've got one in Saint-Tropez. Then we've got one in St. Petersburg in Russia. Then we've got one in Azerbaijan and Baku. Then we've got maybe another Moscow show. And then end of the year is either Dubai or the UK. Depends. It's just loads of stuff. I mean, I've done 6 shows now. Sorry, show number 6 is Tajikistan. And I've got 12 shows to do this year.
You mentioned at the start of the interview that you did those 4 shows in the space of 2 weeks.
Crazy.
I was fortunate enough to commentate on I don't know, maybe the last fight of Sergey Kovalev's career. I know it was billed as the last one, but you tend to not retire on a loss when you're when you're his age. You tend, if you stop somebody, you tend to have another one.
Rob, let me tell you the freaky story. So, I think I wasn't in boxing when Kovalev fought Nathan Cleverly.
Yeah.
But I was a big, avid boxing fan. And I knew who Kovalev was, and I thought this is the biggest mismatch. This is the biggest matchmaking mistake you can have. It was a genius on Kathy Duva's part, smuggling Kovalev on that fight. And Kovalev inspired me so much, so is Pravodnikov Bradley, because I like Russian fighters I am partly Russian, so I like Russian fighters, so that really inspired me. And when I took boxing, thinking that I will ever promote Kovalev's farewell, it's surreal.
He boxed well as well.
It was fantastically, but I was standing there. And I'm a fanboy. Is Kovalev there, the guy who brought me into boxing, and it was crazy. He's a really nice guy. Really, I mean, he picked up some bad habits in America, obviously, but he's
an interesting fellow.
A very interesting fellow, but what a great fighter! He dealt with Artur Mann with just brilliantly.
Do you think he'll carry on boxing?
I don't know. It depends what's on cards, you know.
Well, what you got for him? You're the IBA Pro CEO. What you got for him?
I have something for him, and we discussed that as well. I keep up my sleeve. Let's see.
I spoke about it on the boxing show the other day. Not that we spoke about it necessarily today. Badu Jack against Sergey Kovalev to me makes all the sense in the world, because you've got 2
CBS
naturally small CBS as well, the usual co-host of part-time co-host of the boxing show as well. CBS against Kovalev, Badu Jack against Kovalev.
Big fight, isn't it? Big fight. Once upon a time, when I was with the boxer, I said, let's do Richard Riakpo against Kovalev, and everyone loved the idea, but it was financially impossible.
Yeah,
I think, but it was brilliant. I mean, that would have been a fight. Very interesting for Richard Riakpo's career. Great. Where is he? Where's Richard?
I don't know. He boxed on somebody help me, on the Riyadh card, the Canelo card, didn't he? Boxed at heavyweight, 235 pounds. It was.
Wow.
He had it. He wore it well, though. Like, it's not like
Richard. He's a specimen.
He's a physical,
he's a
physical specimen.
Brilliant,
But yeah, that could be interesting. I think he might fight Lawrence Okoli.
Yeah, interesting fight as well.
Who did you see winning that one?
I think I would fancy Lawrence Akoli just on the sheer stylistics. I don't know. Richard needs to commit. That Riakpo, that animal, Richard has to go forward. Like, that's what I loved Riakpo for, heavy hands going forward, imposing, absolute killer, exactly. I don't mind him understanding about tactics, technicalities and the footwork, but Riakpo knowing for going forward and knocking people out. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I mean, he's in his 30s, isn't he? He should have done all his learning a long time ago. Richard is a strong guy on his front foot. Lawrence Akoli, tangly, spidery, gangly, heavy-handed, God knows, but maybe sway towards Akoli.
Yeah, good fight. Before we got waylaid, which is a common theme for conversations between me and you, I was going to ask about what was it like promoting 4 shows in 2 weeks, and they weren't, they were
different
all
parts
over
of
the
the
place
world,
as well,
different parts of Europe. I mean, listen, if I wouldn't arrive to Serbia early enough, the show wouldn't take place, because they celebrate there. All they do is just Banja Luka is bright city. I never seen so many beautiful women in my place. It's an incredible place. And in Serbia, they say, if you want to marry, you want to find a wife, come to Banja Luka. Honestly, a brilliant place. But the problem was, somehow, the co-organizers, my hosts, decided to do it on Sunday, the 27th of April, National Commemoration Day, Memorial, and Mourning Day. You can't even play music. You can't have drums or anything. Good thing about this, I've been in the President's Palace, had press conference there, met the entire presidium. It was great. But the show was fantastic, and Sara Cirkovic, the local fighter, fought for the IBA Pro world title at bantamweight against the French girl. It was touch and go. I know you disagreed with the decision.
Yeah,
but it was quite close. The fight was quite good. Listen, big experiences, good production. Did you like the production?
I think production's been good. When you initially, I mean, I have to say this because we are the broadcasters, but there we go. I thought the productions looked really good. Because sometimes I know in the past, we won't go into details on some of it, but I know in the past some of your concepts have been a bit out there. But this one works. I do like it. I think it does look good.
This is the experience working with Matchroom. I remember staying
5 years ago, it would have been lasers and people, unicorns and all sorts running.
Yeah, just as I said to you, Tron Legacy, the glitches and stuff like that. So I remember working with Matchroom. I had like this vivid interest in technicalities and all this, the lighting system and the camera production and the placement, jeep cranes and lumens in the ring and the measurements, how they do all these projectors and the park hands. And I used to I could come before the show 3 hours and see what's going on, the canvas. And cause I'm a technical guy, I come from music and production and I love this stuff, and it really helped me. So I understand about the camera angles and everything. I actually called someone from Sky when I was in Brest in Belarus. And I think it was James Tynan, maybe I called, and I showed him the setup. He said, what a brilliant, it was a humble hall, like 3,000 people. And he said, put this there. So we discussed everything. It looked brilliant. Brest looked spectacular with jeep crane. I loved it. I'm fully satisfied. Picture was amazing.
A busy couple of weeks for you.
Yeah, very busy. Crazy. Never again.
Never again?
Never again.
Yeah,
no,
we'll see.
Because we need time to promote, because people used to call me and said, Al, is Yegorov, Perez off? I'm saying, no, it's on the next show. This is what there was like, you know the schedule.
I was getting confused by it.
18th of April was Kovalev. 25th of April was Sasulin. 27th was Serbia. And 2nd of May was Brest and Belarus. Mental.
Yeah, I know.
Good profit in the bank there.
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah.
Not for me. No, one thing I wanted to touch upon, Al, you mentioned it a few times in the interview, and there will definitely be people who want to know more about it. The IBA Pro title. Now, there will be people who are looking at this and they go, we've got 4 major world titles. Yeah. We've got the IBO, which is kind of the estranged cousin of the world title belts.
4.5 we call it, isn't it?
Yeah. You've got the Ring Magazine belt, and there'll be people who say, well, why do we need another belt? What's the IBA Pro world title? Who's it available to? Do we need it as a sport? Why do we need it?
Look, I tell you, you need IBA Pro. You know why? It's a legitimate measurement of your level with the structure that we've got in IBA Pro, our rules and regulations, rating system, which coming up, the guidelines. As a professional fighter, you know exactly what you need to do to become a world champion. And if you're good enough, there's a system to take you there. the preliminary system, the qualifying system, so you know how to achieve the championship. There's no bigger obscurity than top 15s of the 4 governing bodies. And this is not me saying, you speak to anybody. Where is the measurement? Where is the guideline? Why this guy is 7 and why this guy is 9? Do you understand? No. There's no fair measurement.
It's all completely subjective.
No objectives, completely subjective, almost random. In our system, the scoring system, there's a big statistical stuff behind there, the level of the opposition they fight, and so on and so forth, amateur pedigree, and you kind of, that's where you need that matchmaking to understand the worth of the fighter. You need to see someone in action to actually, you need to see Chelsea playing Liverpool to understand how good they are, not the team from the 2nd division.
Make sure you're talking into the
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know whether or not how much detail you can go into at the minute, but you mentioned there a rating system and a ranking system. It seems like everybody, you mentioned it earlier on, the UFC, Turkey Al Sheikh, and obviously TKO coming into it.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of people are in boxing at least, just kind of trying to push more towards a more, like you said there, I guess a more, what's the word I'm looking for here? More structured ranking system. People have always asked me about it because, I mean, as you do, I go to some of the sanctioning body conventions, and people will always say to me, how do they get up there, and they sort all of these things out by basically who's got the best argument or who's got the best relationship or who's
the promoters.
Yeah, when it's
mostly who's got more money than any.
Yeah.
I mean, the financials are very important.
So how does the IBA Pro rankings differ to that?
I tell you, first of all, IBA Pro is actually a funding organization as well. We are like UFC. We are a promoter, a governing body, a championship, and a media company. We pay purses. We're not the governing body that comes, sanction the belt, and getting paid from the promoter. We are the promoters. So we want the quality. We want to know what we're paying for. I want the best fighters or the most talented fighters or the prospectus of the up-and-comings to be in my shows to make that investment. And make sure, for example, that we are very competitive. If, say, for example, I'm pleased to announce, and we're going to do that with the Media Week, WBA, we signed a contract of recognition, and Albert Batragaziev, this is a historic moment for me as a promoter, fought for the WBA interim and IBA Pro World Championship against Nery Romero. It was an absolute tear-up. You saw that fight.
Yeah, he got dropped,
Yeah, he was dropped two times. Yeah. One more time, and he would have lost the titles. But what I'm trying to say, these are the guidelines that we based our judgment upon. And because we are paying, our president, Umar Kremlov, is the most obsessed man about boxing. If you ask me who's more obsessed, Turkey Al Sheikh or Umar Kremlov, I haven't met Turkey, but I know I've never seen anyone obsessed about boxing more than Umar. Do you know why I know that? The guy spent millions, $19 million on Africa alone. Gloves, development, gyms refurbishments, subsidizing local commissions and everything. Al, please, tidy the system up. Great matches, great concepts, great shows. Please, can you do that? Obviously, I had to say yes, because people believe in me. And this is an opportunity I've been thriving for. And sometimes I don't want to moan and say I've been treated unfairly, whatever, because everyone's destiny is different. But I think I've arrived at the perfect place, at the perfect time, and I'm ready to make a difference and welcome everyone to join me for this very interesting journey, you know.
Just on Umar Kremlov, you mentioned there kind of somebody that you work with and of course oversees IBA Pro. Again, there'll be people watching this who kind of look back at the last few years, and he's been involved in some controversies, and some people will point at him as a controversial character. What's it like working with him? I mean, obviously you work with him, you know him from a day-to-day, from a business perspective. What's it like working with him?
Obsessed man, very generous, but quite unforgiving to mistakes. So, for example, if you put yourself forward as an expert and you do something good, you'll be responsible if something goes wrong. For example, in Brest, I had a weigh-in with the Brest Fortress. And unfortunately, instead of the screen on the background, LEDs, they brought a banner, printed banner, which had this glimpsy banner. Do you understand what I'm saying? What do you call it? You've got matte, and what's the opposite to matte? Remind me. The shiny one.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
This is where we need Ben.
Yeah, what's the word?
Whatever.
But anyway, you understand, yeah? And
Gloss.
Yeah, glossy banner. And they've used white cable ties, and the banner was black. Omar comes in at the stage, and he looks at me like that. And he looks, we can't swear, can we, on this program?
You can do what you want to.
He looks at the floor, and he sees that black cloth instead of the carpet, and he goes, what the fuck is this under my feet? I'm saying, he goes, Al, what's behind us? What's going on here? It was packed with crowd, but the perfectionism. He wants it to be the best everywhere. He goes, what's going on here? And I'm saying, listen, we got let down by the local contractors. He goes, I don't care, you're responsible. And I already know I'm going to get bollocking. But it's good for me, because then he goes to me, oh, don't be upset. Thrive from it and learn. Next time, send a great group of people to make sure everything happens with local contractors. Maybe Belarusian guys don't understand your standard. Send your people. Obsessed about boxing. Generous. Knows the game, can have a tear up himself. Interesting guy. Great for boxing. I'm really grateful to him for giving me this opportunity, because crazy, I'll tell you a very quick story. So I got invited to Dubai. You remember when we had that big show as a media consultant to bring Terence Crawford and Dmitry Bivos, Artur Mann, and Ben Whitakers, and you know Napa Elliott. Yeah. You know Napa very well. So me and Napa worked like consultants. We broke all the stars. And it was a problem for the weigh-in, so I stapled with the staple gun. I stapled the carpet and everything. I really wanted to go well, and got the jeep crane. And then I had this phone call. I came back to Southampton, had this phone call out of blue, like, where are you? With withheld number. And I'm thinking, sounds like Kremlov. I'm saying, at home. He goes, can you fly tomorrow to the office? I'm saying, where? He goes, Moscow. I'm saying, I can't do it tomorrow, but I can do it day after tomorrow. He goes, we're going to get you flights, come over. By the time I reached Moscow, like 6 o'clock in the morning, see you at 12 in my office. And when I came in, he said, listen, I saw you, despite what people might say, because I've done lots of due diligence on you, mostly good. I want you to work for IBA and create this IBA Pro thing, because I think you could do it. I couldn't say no. And now it's going through strength to strength, and every now and then he would call and saying, what was that? So interesting man. Interesting
times in the sport, Al. It's good to see you with the wind in your sails. I think obviously I've kind of touched base with you over the course of the last year, but it's good to see you back on these shores and putting some shows on and doing things bigger and better than ever. You look not reinvigorated, because the last time I saw you didn't look unvigorated.
I'm exhausted, Rob. Honestly, I'll be honest.
Tired, but
I didn't have
fresh,
great
if
nights.
That makes sense.
Dalston really killed me.
Yeah, well, that's your fault. That's your fault.
Yeah, but another thing, Andy Clark and Ron McIntosh, I'm really grateful to them for supporting the shows with commentary, and yourself as well, and Boxing News, of course, guys.
Chipping where I can.
We're doing brilliant. Yeah. How many views did we have on Kovalev?
Lots. Live, Jordan? No, the live concurrence, I can't remember. I think it was like 11,000 or something. No, while it was, as in while
listen,
it was
a moment I looked there. It was like 21,000 or something. Yeah, I remember.
Let's have a look.
Yeah, but Gongora, what's that all about? Why Gongora made 140,000?
Because Gongora is massive on Boxing News.
I don't understand. It's paradox.
It happens like that sometimes. It happens like that. The Kovalev stream, all in all, did I think it was on like 170 or something, 170,000.
Decent numbers, isn't it? Be honest.
Very good. That's what happens when
for something unknown. But look, I know we're only going to get better, and the content and the plans and the stable of fighters. I'm really excited. Britain, listen, is the home of boxing. IBA Pro. I had offers from promoters in the UK to partner up. Of course, we've got partnership. We've got almost like franchise conditions, isn't it? I will not say now, but anyone interested, guys, give me a call. We'll speak. Very interesting.
And I'm assuming you'll be casting your net as well to sign Western fighters now, Brits,
Absolutely.
Americans. And
I tell you another thing. When I came to IBA and created IBA Pro, I've raised a big concern. I said, we will have to work. We'll have to run word. We'll need to work with the local commissions professional governing bodies, the EBU, British Boxing Board of Control. I reached out to everyone. I'm in communication, and I'm kind of delighted and slightly dreading to address that conversation with the British Boxing Board of Control, knowing how passionate I am and how honourable I am. I'm hoping that Robert Smith and the guys will endorse what I'm doing here, and we can have unbelievable journey and change the game for the better, you know?
Okay. Well, Al Siesta, always a pleasure to catch up with you. So as I said, I think it's the first time in, well, according to you, 4 years that we've done an interview. But yeah, always good to catch up.
I'm rusty on media as well, by the way, as you can see.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm rusty on the microphone as well. I don't get it. To be fair, I don't do that many interviews nowadays.
In Russian, I'm so good.
I bet you are.
Do you know what I mean?
It was one of the, I was actually saying for a while, a couple of years ago, that I wanted to learn Russian, but now I think it's because I always used to think if you knew Russian, Spanish,
Chinese.
Well, now I'm thinking Arabic.
Arabic, correct. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Inshallah, my brother.
Yeah, I know like the singular words and stuff, but
yeah.
I think I've got a little bit more to work on. But no, Al, thanks very much for stopping by. I know over the next couple of days you're doing the media rounds a little bit, aren't you?
I'm doing media, absolutely. This is a good rehearsal.
Well, thanks very much. I'm glad that you rehearsal, the practice run with me, and you go give everybody else the good stuff. Now you're all warmed up.
Listen, we haven't done badly, have we?
No, we've done okay. We've done okay. And we've relatively stayed on track, which is something that we often struggle to do when we get together.
IBA Pro, fantastic.
Well, we look forward to it. And you know, when you've got those shows, mate, you want to stick them on Boxing News?
Absolutely,
stick them on Boxing News. Go down a storm with our audience. Free boxing, we all love a bit of free boxing. But from me, Rob Tebbutt, that's all we've got time for today. From the one and only Al Siesta, CEO, Grandmaster General of IBA Pro, whatever he's calling himself nowadays, the main man, the promoter. Thanks very much for stopping by, and Al will catch up with you soon.
My pleasure.